Welcome back, boys and girls, to League of Noobs. I know I haven't been updating in a while, but I've been working on my biggest project so far, my own How to Get Out of Bronze guide. But why should you listen to me if you want to see this? Or one day maybe even this? To be totally honest, the answer is pretty simple. I'm kind of an expert on how to escape the so-called Elo Hell or Wood Division. As you can see, I have one account currently on Gold 4, the other on Silver 3. The hard truth for me is I have to start all over again in Bronze every single season, but yet somehow I never finish there. So yeah, I'm quite an expert on doing that. No doubt there are much better players and YouTubers out there than me, but when I watch their guides, I sometimes get the feeling the things they try to explain are just way too hard for people playing at our level. And yeah, that's kind of the point where I come into play, trying to give you some easy understanding of how to escape Bronze. My first tip for you would be to decide on a role and get a champion pool for it. Some of you out there might think you actually have a role that you're good at, or even multiple roles that you're good at, and some champions for it. Truth to be told, no you haven't. You're stuck in Bronze. There's actually no part of the game up till now that you are really good at. The best way to decide on a champion is to watch some champion spotlights, be Riot's own champion spotlights or some funny ones like Bricky Orchid or Magikarp Used Fly. If you see a champion that you think you might enjoy playing, just pick it up, play it a few games. If you still think that champ is enjoyable to you, then you watch some advanced YouTube videos for that champion. For example, vertical clips for learning Airi would be great, or Professor Akali for learning Akali, Grey X for learning Shaco. And you just basically will improve by trying to do what those YouTubers do. My next tip would be to play with players that are in higher elo than you yourself are. This is one of the things that helped me improve the most. While it's true that you will get stomped in your first few games, you will adapt to that better and more advanced playstyle over time. And when you go back to playing ranked, playing against and with people at your current elo level, your win rate will go up. And this is really a thing that's not that hard to do. You just play some games and learn by doing, and just by seeing your own mistakes and how people that are playing better than you exploit them. Which brings me straight to my next point. You always have to use your enemies' mistakes against them. A lot of low elo players, be that bronze, silver, or sometimes even gold, cry and whine about the mistakes their teammates make, but they seem to fail to realize that the enemy team is just as bad as their own team is, and they're making the same kind of mistakes. Like in this clip, for example, the Fiora kept using her counter to engage on Xin and never saved it for his knock-up. So she ended up dying all the time. But I didn't flame her or blame her for it. I just went up there, picked up some easy kills on the Xin that never warded and always overextended, got myself fed and ended up carrying the game. Or in this clip, for example, we have perfect vision on the Lee. He decides to invade anyhow, although he's a level lower than me, then even fails his flash, and I have a free kill without getting any damage. And this is also something that's really easy to do. You don't have to be good to do this. You just have to walk around, look what does my enemy wrong, how can I use it against him, and then just plainly do that. Also another great example here, the Ezreal greets for the kill on Ahri, walks too close to me, gets taunted, frightened, I end up taking another kill without much effort, to be honest. The next two clips are also good examples on how to use your enemy's mistakes against them. Here I play that fight really badly mechanic-wise, but Camille is even more stupid than me. She knows Jinx has a global ult, still decides to backport very close to the tower. This ends up killing her. The next clip will show us a Lee Sin that is actually walking straight through an MF ult, catching the entire damage, still managed to survive it because he was pretty fat at that point, but I end up picking up an easy kill and he's dead anyhow. You won't survive doing things like that. There's no skill from my side required to do that. It's just an easy free kill, a free assist for MF, and they are missing a teammate for the next few minutes. Well, not actually minutes, more like seconds, but I guess you got the point now. And so I think it's time to move on to our next point, which would be that you always have to keep in mind what is your next priority. Well, your main priority should always be to win the game, and you always should keep in mind how do I do that. You also need to set yourself some short time priorities. Like, for example, what is the most valuable target in that fight and how do I get him killed? Or be it, how do I stop my enemy that actually killed my laner or another lane if I play a lane myself from getting a turret? Or how do I help out the losing lane? How do I make picks when we are behind so that the enemy is missing a teammate again and the team fights become easier for my team? The game in itself is much more about prioritizing properly than most people in lower elo themselves realize. For example, in jungle, the buffs are worth the most. The next highest priority would go to the raptors or the gromp, then there would be the wolves, and then the golems. That is a straight set of priorities. The same goes for basically everything. The baron is usually worth more than the drakes. Also, the right call whether to do the herald or the drake if the enemy team is on the drake might end up winning you a game. Or as you can see in those team fights here, I always take out, or mostly take out MF first if she's present, just to get rid of the highest damage dealer. This is also, this is not a mechanical skill, this is not really game knowledge, this is just plainly prioritizing. MF does the most damage, I kill her. Jhin does the most damage, I kill him first. Here's a good example where I actually did it wrong. I killed MF, then I killed Leona, and Jax ended up killing me. If I had prioritized properly, I would have gone for Jax second and ignored Leona, who was actually down on her stun, and I could have picked her up afterwards. Could have survived that and still gotten the triple kill. Next thing is, you should always have a plan. Never do things if you didn't think them through properly before. This, for example, I pretend to walk away, so they think I'm gone. I place the box in the bush. I'm simply waiting in the bush because I know it's not warded. Brand will go to ward it, and it is first blood for us. Again, not much skill required. I basically just had a plan on what I wanted to do, and I did it. Here I did my first 3 camps to get level 3. I was planning on ganking mid lane first anyhow, because Kassadin is strong late game but has a very weak early game, and I just tried to get my Annie as fat as anyhow possible. Here I placed 2 boxes after another and just waited till the laner or a Mumu would walk over it so Kassadin and me could kill him. And here's actually an example where I do my entire clear with the goal to gank mid lane next. So I'm just basically doing my gromp, kiting it a little to not lose too much health, not really doing it good. Doing the wolves, almost at 3/4 health now. Now I zoom on to Kata. Kata and Ahri are both snowball heavy champs, so I decided I have to gank that lane first to get a lead on my Ahri, be it by giving her a kill or being an assist. Still, it is a good lane to gank first, and I started my entire game thinking about how do I get here and how do I get that Kata killed. Kata even misplays it, I end up taking the kill, Ahri has some free farm, and an assist. This lane is ahead now. Of course, this also goes for other lanes, not only jungle, but you yourself have to decide what is your plan, and how does it affect the further game flow, and how does it help you to win your games, and then you just follow it. Another point would be never to blame your teammates, either pep talk them or mute them. We've been over this before. Both teams will make a lot of mistakes since we're all playing in low elo. There's absolutely no use in blaming and flaming your teammates or respond to their flame. The best thing you can actually do is keep the morals up, tell them we can do this, tell them that you can help them. Here you see my entire team dies. The enemy still has a lot of players left, but they're all low on health. So I just go in there, kill 2 of them, have my boxes frighten Sona, get out, and now there's only Sona and Yi alive. They can't really push, and after this I texted my team, don't worry guys, I got your back, I evened it out. The main reason that this is so important is most of them won't even listen to you if you explain their mistakes to them. They're angry and mad and sad little people that are stuck in bronze for a reason, but are totally unwilling to admit it. So telling them that they are doing good, that you have their back, that you can win this game, that you can actually do it, promise them to carry it, tell them whatever it takes to stop them from going AFK, from shifting the blame to other people, from raging, inting, or doing all sorts of other stuff that might ruin your game experience in this particular game, or even might end up losing you the game, is basically all you can do. There's only very little use in talking objectively with lower elo players and trying them to explain on how to do better. The first tips were all about how to get an advantage. Now we're going to talk about how to use your advantage properly. Also with some examples. This is together with to always have a plan and to prioritize properly the most important tip you can take away from this video. Basically every time you kill somebody, be it on your lane or be it in the jungle, you have to do something with that kill. Like for example here, I leave the kill to Yasuo because he's actually playing pretty good. Then I help him take that first tower down as fast as anyhow possible, just to extend our lead a little bit further. Here we've killed Kassadin. We forced the supporter back. Now I even use my ult to get as much damage onto the turret as is anyhow possible. When they start coming back, I see Vayne going into our backline. I wait on using my Q till my team is here to bait her in, and we end up killing her. After we kill her, we go again for the tower and push it down. Again, we can't push further, so I just walk into the enemy's jungle, take away his creeps to deny him some CS if he goes farming. Then I go straight back, the others go actually straight for the Herald. I go in for the Herald, use my ult to do it as fast as possible because there's only little time left. I pick it up, there you can see Baron spawning, I even pick up the blue. Since we're all silver players and not really high elo, we spend way too much time in this jungle until I decide that there's nothing happening and I can... Actually, I saw the Vayne here and I saw Tristana going for her, so I decided to help out. I can't take the Vayne on my own, but together with Tristana it's no problem. They are again one man down, so we're again pushing. On the way, I clear some enemy jungle camps to deny further CS if the game should drag out longer. I see a team fight breaks out, I spawn the Herald to add some extra pressure. Basically the Herald ends up taking down the turret, the inhibitor, and then the first Nexus tower. This all happened with very little kills going on, very little fighting, and very little mechanical skill. It basically was just we used the advantage we had. After we push here, we lost a lot of life. Some of us are out of mana, or the spells are on cooldown, we don't want to go for a fight. On the way back, we pick up the Drake. Then we go to the lanes, I clear a ward to deny some vision, which again can happen because Annie is so far ahead that Kog'Maw will not engage me, while Annie is even remotely close to me. Pantheon ults in, we kill 2 of them, pressure the minions through. Again I use my ult to take the tower down as fast as possible. The others decide to fight, but me and Tristana simply focused down the Nexus. The last point I want to go over in this video is invading. Since we're all low elo players, none of us will do their invades really perfectly or even really good, which doesn't really matter because most of your enemies also won't know how to handle invades properly. So in this example, I know that Shyvana doesn't need any mana, but her red is actually really useful for her to clear faster and to have a higher life regain on her first full clear. So I decide to start red and then invade her blue. I don't use my Q to walk into her jungle because I want to have my Q ready to escape if necessary. I also have to make sure that my smite is up so that in case she comes, I can just simply smite the blue and Q out and walk away, having taken her buff. I also place a ward to make sure she doesn't show up or to notice on time if she shows up, which she doesn't because she disconnects. And after I realize that she's not coming, I decide that I can even take her Gromp, and I basically have 2 free camps just by walking into her jungle in a perfectly safe situation since I'm Shaco and I can always walk out invisible or teleport over a wall with my Q. And with this last clip, I'm actually going to finish up for today. As always, I hope you enjoyed my video and maybe you could actually learn something from it. And yeah, till next time, see you on the Rift.